Welcome to the Sageverse, with real works and true words. Patterns of recognition leaves your brain converged. Time is irrelevant when the thoughts of impediment corrupt your soul with mind-numbing nemesis. The sage's way is where the truth hits the page. Turn your soul into a library in the name of knowledge and discovery. We seek out reality to be gone of human apathy. Welcome to the Sageverse, where we explore the pressing questions of our age. My name's Jason, and I'm here today joined by a good friend of mine and fellow founder of the channel, Hermes. How you doing, brother?
Very well, thank you for asking. I'm Hermes, and welcome to the Sageverse.
Welcome indeed. So to kick things off, I think now is a good opportunity, perhaps before we tell the viewers what our vision is for Sageverse, to first take them down memory lane of how we first met. Do you want to tell them?
Yeah, I'll do the honors. Okay, so in 2018, I moved to Wudang Mountain in China. Okay, so I lived there for a year to study Taoist Kung Fu. I was kind of seeking a journey of self-realization, self-mastery. And although me and Jason maybe live about 30 minutes apart, I live in London, he lives in Hertfordshire. This isn't where we first met. We met in Wudang Mountain in China. He was also on a similar journey. And I believe it was a hostel we met in, somewhere like any foreigners in China would go to play pool, to kind of talk, discuss. We realized we're on a similar kind of journey. We're both interested in reading, writing, philosophy, and we used to play chess, discuss loads of various ideas. Had probably some of my best conversations out there with Jason. So.
Yeah, I mean, they were good times. It was quite strange how, I lived in Hertfordshire, you lived in London, and we somehow met in some, desolate part of China. But yeah, it was a great time. I mean, I finished up my graduation in 2018, and just like yourself, I wanted to get away and really push the boundaries of both my physicality but also my mental faculties. So I went to China to first of all learn Taoist Kung Fu, but also to read lots of different subjects, to pursue writing because that's what I was passionate about, and also that self-discovery, that journey of self-realization, and then I met you in a hostel, and it was quite clear to me at least that we shared a similar passion. We had the same ideas, or at least similar ideas, but it was just that thirst for life and the the drive, to seek purpose. I think so. That was where we connected.
Yeah, I mean, kind of if I'm going to go into the reason I went out there, like I feel like we're born. Do you know what I mean? We're like on a rock in infinite space with infinite potential, infinite things to experience. And when you're born, your life is kind of planned out for you to an extent. You know what I mean? You're born, put in nursery and then school. You're kind of pretty much prepped from school to go straight into a job. Then you have loads of responsibilities, bills, you know what I mean, relationships. I was very much someone who kind of avoided any level of responsibility, any tie-ins. I didn't have a phone contract. And I did all that because I always wanted to have a journey. Just, I was always into kind of Kung Fu movies and flicks like that when I was young, which is kind of why I decided to go to that location. But it could have been anywhere. What I really was after was that time to myself, to think, to live, to just, read, write, see what I'm capable of. And I'm thankful for that journey, and I'm also thankful I met you, Jason, out there.
Yeah, I think to summarize what you just said, the unconventional journey, because that was what I set out on, and that is essentially what you just described to some degree. The conventional route is to get out of university and join the rat race as everyone else, and I think this is what we all are somewhat fall into, right? This is the trap that society has for us, but there are ways out. You should find a way to remove the shackles that society burdens us with.
100%.
But yeah, moving on from that, what is your vision then for Sageverse? Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so from what we're discussing, you can see clearly, both myself and Jason, we were on that journey of self-discovery, self-realization, self-mastery. And I believe from my journey, meeting loads of different people, there are a lot of people, contrary to what you see on TV and social media, that are also on that journey, that are also seekers. And Sageverse for me is a space for a community of like-minded people to come together, to be able to allow that journey to unfold. So looking at the word Sageverse, a sage is an enlightened master, old philosopher, someone that has achieved that level of wisdom, which is kind of the final destination, I'd say, of where I'm trying to get to. I'm trying to master myself to a degree. So that's the sage side. Verse, coming from universe, is the space, is the container in which we're going to allow these discussions to unfold, to allow the journey we're both on in that direction to unfold. And I'd also like it to be a community, people who are also on that journey to interact within Sageverse, to ask questions, I'm going to be very interactive, I'm sure Jason will as well. And within Sageverse, we're going to have a lot of different ideas we're bringing, the first of which being a podcast. The podcast is going to be called The Sage's Way. So do you want to talk a little bit about The Sage's Way, Jason?
Yeah, sure. So The Sage's Way will be the first podcast that we'll be launching. And essentially, it is an environment for people to be able to discuss ideas. So if you look at what a sage is someone that, as Hermes described, someone that is an enlightened master, but also someone that asks questions. So the Sage's Way is essentially the journey of self-realization. We're going to be discussing questions that directly relate to at least conventional understanding of truth, but also conventional understanding of reality. I think the Sage's Way will allow us this opportunity to have a free flow of ideas, and that journey of self-discovery does not have to be alone. It can be done and achieved through debate and deliberation, because the truth lies between two minds or two people conversing and arriving at a certain point. This is what the Greeks did. This is probably what the Indians did, probably what the Chinese did, probably what all the greatest philosophers of antiquity did. So bringing that back to the modern society, when it's filled with TikTok and social media, which is corrupting our minds. Mm-hmm. I think having that, the return to the renaissance of debate, freedom of speech, free flow of ideas, I think that's what the Sage's Way for me is, at least.
Very similar to me. Yeah, the Sage's Way is all about questioning, all about discussing. If you are, like you said, looking at any modern day or ancient philosopher, it was always about the free flow of thought, the allowing of a thought being challenged. Even if you look at science is about discussing a hypothesis, challenging that hypothesis, allowing challenges to come, which, that kind of two sides clashing is what has drawn us so far forward. And that's why freedom of speech is so important. That's why the freedom to express, the freedom to think is just so important. And I feel like humanity's lost that a little bit.
You made me laugh there a little bit. Sorry to interrupt you there, but I was just thinking back to a meme where it was like scientists back in the day used to welcome and invite criticism upon their ideas. But now, if a scientist has a certain point of view, anyone who criticizes that point of view, cancelled. If it's not shared by the public, cancelled. That's it. You're in the graveyard of ideas, so to speak.
Well, if the modern world wants to cancel people for discussing ideas, the Sageverse is essentially the place to come to discuss those ideas. That is what we're creating, and that is what we're welcoming people who are on a journey of self-realization, self-mastery, just seeking. We want seekers to come and discuss with us and talk about life, essentially.
Thank you, Hermes. Thank you. That was beautiful. I think now's a good time to wrap up. I mean, do you have anything else you want to say?
think we don't want to drag it out too much. Just kind of a little introduction of ourselves, introduction of what Sageverse is, and yeah, we're gonna have a lot more to come. But yeah, thank you. My name again is Hermes, and welcome to the Sageverse.
Welcome to the Sageverse.
Welcome to the Sageverse. Please just observe the birth of this creative surge for the purpose to leave hatred purged and replaced with words that will make you learn to take your place on earth. Once you've taken your place and found your greatest of traits, cultivated the day, this will be making you say